Now I'm going to use the classic French influences of the Boston cream pie to create my dish, chocolate genoise sponge with creme pâtissière and a coffee meringue. So first of all, for the sponge, it's quite simply, you just whisk up the eggs and the sugar first. Now the secret of a genoise is the addition of melted butter that gives its cake the texture that you need. It's quite funny how something that's deemed fully American now, like the Boston cream pie, has so much French influence in how it's produced. Now this bit's vital. There's no self-raising flour in this recipe, so you need to get as much air as possible in this mixture now using the eggs and the sugar. Visually you can see it's changed colour and it's gone much lighter and almost white. Add the flour and the cocoa into the mixture and stir it in gently to keep the air inside the mix. Now the only rising agent in this cake is the whisking of the eggs and the sugar, so you need to be really careful. The minute you add flour to this, it starts to collapse. So you need to work quickly but smoothly. Then you add the butter to the mixture now. Pour the batter into 2 baking tins and get it straight into the oven. Set at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. It's about 170 centigrade for between 15 and 20 minutes. While that's cooking, we're going to do another French classic, a creme pâtissière, which was used in the Boston cream pie. It's very simple to actually make. It's just heated milk and vanilla first of all. Basically, it's a set custard, but thickened with corn flour. Separate the eggs, keeping the whites for your meringue and the yolks for the creme pâtissière. So you add the sugar to the egg yolks. Now it's important when you do this that you don't add them too early, because if you add the sugar too early, it cures the egg and you'll end up with little yellow specks of egg yolk in there. And then what we do is add corn flour. Now this is the difference between a custard and a creme pâtissière. Combine the hot milk with the egg yolks. Whisk it up. Just like a traditional custard, we pour it back on here. You just keep mixing it with a whisk until it starts to get thick. When it gets to this consistency, pop it to one side and get started on the meringue. First, add the sugar and water into a pan and bring to the boil to create a syrup. To make an Italian meringue, the sugar needs to reach a temperature of 118 degrees centigrade. Finally, whisk up the egg whites and steadily pour in the hot sugar syrup. I'm also adding some coffee essence for flavour. And that's the meringue finished. Hopefully, our cakes should be cooked. The easiest way to test it is just press on the top. When you get a little bit of resistance and it comes back up, that's when it's cooked. This is where we turn creme pâtissière into classic creme légère, which is the addition of whipped cream. So I've got some almond liqueur, which I'm just going to soak the sponge with. Now you need to fill it with plenty of this cream. Spread the cream out from the centre evenly. The second layer of sponge should be brushed with the liquor and then placed on top, followed by the Italian meringue. Using a palette knife, cut the entire cake, creating peaks to give the finished article texture. It's really one way you don't have to be too perfect with, so the idea is just to get the cake spiked with meringue all over the place. But the best part of this is colouring it, and to do that, you need a blowtorch. You can always brown the meringue in a hot oven, but make sure you keep your eye on it to avoid it burning. And there we have it, my coffee meringue and chocolate cake. And it's quite unusual to put a meringue on a cake like this. But it's much lighter than buttercream. And the taste is quite, well, the taste is very French, but it is delicious.